Peace, everybody. Welcome to the Vital Hoops podcast. My name is Fernando Cardenas, aka International XB. I am your host. This is episode number 28. I'm hyped today. We have an amazing guest, like we usually do. Our guest today is a healer, a certified health and fitness coach, and nutritionist. I'm talking about none other than the great Justin Strickland, aka Fueled by Plants, from Fuel Yourself International. Get your plant-based knowledge. Check it out. Justin, peace, my brother. How you doing? Welcome to the Vital Hoops podcast.
Man, peace, God. How you feeling?
Peace, man. I'm doing good, man. I appreciate you coming through, man. I really appreciate your time. And like I was telling you, off air, man, it's dope because I've been wanting to really get into veganism and the plant-based lifestyle and all that.
Mm-hmm.
On the Vital Hoops podcast, because it is a part of this podcast. So it's an honor to have you on the show, my man.
Man, I appreciate the invitation, and yeah, man, we're gonna get all into it, bro.
For sure. I'm excited, man. Listen, before we get it going, so the listeners can get to know you a little bit, man. If you could tell us a little bit about, where you're from, how was it for you growing up, and when did you become a vegan? And, when did you become, a personal trainer and a nutritionist? And, how did you switch your lifestyle?
Okay. Yeah, man. I like to say I come from humble beginnings, right? So Jackson, Mississippi, you know what I mean? And when people hear Jackson, Mississippi, you already know the first thing they think is, deep fried food from the South and chitlins and all these other things like that. And that was exactly what we was brought up on, right?
No doubt.
And grew up eating all the traditional things that people ate. Didn't really have any type of knowledge around where food came from, what's in the food, where in any of that, right? Right. As I got older, fell into some bad habits, smoking, drinking, things like that, the normal things that a person of melanated descent will attribute to in the South. You see what I'm saying? And
not only in the South, but I feel you
everywhere, right? Not even in the South, man. You know what I mean? And got to a point where it became a problem, right? The drinking and the smoking started to become a problem. And it was about 7 years ago where I said, you know what, I'm gonna stop smoking, I'm gonna stop drinking. And I kind of just purged myself of that. And it was kind of an easy transition into the plant-based lifestyle, right? I watched one video on YouTube about it and kind of went down a rabbit hole, right? About where food came from, about the animals, about factory farming. And I just got so interested in it. And then I looked up and found the elder Dr. Sebi. And that just blew my mind, right? Blew my mind. And I watched every video about him and just went down a deep rabbit hole. And I went vegan. I went alkaline vegan. And, it revitalized my life, right? Revitalized my life. And after that, a lot of people will say, vegans can't build muscle. And look, I ain't gonna lie. I started to lose weight because I didn't know about the fitness aspect of it. So I dedicated the next 2 years to build my physique, right? And that's exactly what I did. I got certified as a personal trainer, got certified as a nutritionist, and I built my physique. And people started to come to me and say, hey, what are you doing? Like, how did you build all this muscle on plants? Can you help me? And it kind of evolved from that, right? And fast forward to today, I got my own company, Fuel Yourself International. You can see the logo right there. Yeah. And I've been helped over 200 people up to date, 200 vegans, change their lifestyle, build muscle, lose weight. And it's a beautiful journey, man. And I'm happy about it, brother.
That's dope, man. Shout out to you for that, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
All right, man. So just in case, certain listeners are not necessarily familiar, with what, the vegan lifestyle is all about, or, plant-based lifestyle, whatever it is that we want to call it. What does a vegan do or eat, or, you know what I mean?
So the basics of veganism, and a lot of people get this wrong, you know what I mean? Basically what veganism is no consumption of animal products. So that includes meat, fish, dairy, eggs, and then some vegans do not choose to consume honey as well, right? And it's two sides to it, because it's a plant-based side to it and it's a veganism side to it. A lot of people are kind of divided on this topic.
Where do you see the difference? Where do you see the difference?
I see the difference in vegans tend to do it and come from it from an ethical standpoint.
Okay.
Right, from the environment and from the animal standpoint, and plant-based is more of doing it as a holistic type of thing and really doing it for health reasons. And I'm kind of on both sides of those spectrum.
Yeah, same here, man. Same here. I'm also on the both sides of spectrum, man. And I think that, I think also another difference I would call would be that, plant-based are usually only centered on the food aspect. And I think sometimes vegans also focus on, maybe products. Maybe they don't want to use, whatever cleaning products or medication, anything that was like animal tested. We try to, like, I personally, try to stay away from that as well. You know what I'm saying? Unnecessarily harming animals and things like that.
Right.
So I think that's another difference. But I was doing a little bit of research and I saw, like, I think there are mainly four reasons why people go vegan. The first one being the exploitation of animals, basic ethics. If people do any type of small research, they're gonna see how horrible the meat industry is. You know what I mean? Not only to the animals, but also to the workers. People don't realize the workers having PTSD, you know what I mean, from constantly murdering these animals that, animals showing feelings.
Right.
People think it's normal to eat a cow and slaughter a pig, but if they did that to their dog, if people did that to their dog, they would go crazy. When these animals are similar in everything, cows are compassionate, they have feelings, they have a central nervous system, they have, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's then there's also animal, the fact that animal agriculture is killing the environment. You know what I mean? And we know that it's top 3. Well, in today's world, I feel like, environmental problems are key and we don't focus on that enough, but it's definitely the meat industry is directly linked to deforestation. And that's top 3 problems as far as, the environment, global warming and all that. And there's health, you know what I mean? Obviously, which is which is very key as far when it comes to heart disease, lowering blood cholesterol levels, blood pressure, rates of hypertension, type 2 diabetes. There's low body mass indexes, and overall cancer rates are lower in vegans or plant-based people, and even vegetarians to a certain extent. And then there's also one that, is rarely spoken on, but I think is very interesting that, 40% of crops that are produced in the world today are used for animals. So when we talk about world hunger, you know what I mean? All this food that we're growing in order to force feed these animals and then slaughter them in order to sell the meat, you know what I'm saying? We could, we'd be able to manage that a lot smarter in order to feed people, you know what I mean? So I think that that's important. I encourage all the listeners to do your own research, man, always. But yeah, these are some small things. Then, let's talk a little bit about the different type of vegans, I found, we got, healthy vegans, we got junk food vegans, but let's get into, like, we got, alkaline vegans, raw vegans. We even have fruit. We even have fruitarians, people who only eat fruit, right?
Right.
People who just live on fruits. And then we got, we got many different types of vegetarians, pescatarians, lacto-ovo, these kind of things. But, where do you see all that, man? How do you?
Yeah. So, the main thing that I see, even just when I'm out and about and I'm at stores and stuff like that, when people tend to go vegan nowadays, either they don't watch the documentary, something like What the Health, right? Or they, seen something online and they say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try this vegan thing out. Or a celebrity went vegan for 30 days. They say, okay, I'm gonna try this out.
Right.
And about 80% of it, they'll go to the store, and they'll go down and get all the vegan junk food, right? They get all the burgers, they get all the vegan alternative, the vegan cheese, the vegan mayo. They load. I see it every time when I'm in Whole Foods, right?
Yeah, no
And I
doubt.
always try to go introduce myself, you know what I mean? Not trying to impose on people, but I'm like, shouldn't do it that way. But you know, you can't just you just can't
No
be
doubt.
running up on everybody that got some vegan cheese in their bag, right?
Yeah.
But it's a disconnect because they really aren't sure what to eat. So they see vegan on the package and they tend to go for it, right? Which I still kind of I post about, you know, vegan alternatives on my page as
Yeah, I
well,
seen it.
because it is a transition, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't
It
mean
can
that
help.
it's the best thing to do. Of course not, right?
Mm.
But it's an easier path to go down. But I always tell people, look, do not focus so much on that. You want to make sure you're getting the majority of your food from whole foods, right?
No
And if
doubt.
you do it that way, you can be healthy. So that's the junk food vegan side.
Yeah.
But also you have the plant-based whole food, right? Then you have alkaline vegan, which I'm more towards, right? Where you're only eating the primarily foods that are, you know, non-hybridized, high pH and things like that, which revitalizes the body. And also you have just the raw vegans, right? Where you're eating them, but fruits, vegetables, some nuts and seeds and things like that, and not cooking anything, which it's a lot of evidence that type of diet is super superior. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of them out there, man.
Are you familiar?
I'm trying them all.
Yeah. You tried them all?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That. Are you familiar with Dr. Ehret?
No, I'm not familiar with him.
Man, he's interesting, man. He's Dr. Ehret. He hasn't drunk regular water in I think like 40 years. He only drinks coconut water. Only. So he only drinks coconut water and he only eats he's raw vegan, you know what I'm saying? But he doesn't like to use the word vegan because you know he's an old school. So he says I'm a vegetarian. He says people who eat cheese and call themselves vegetarian are bullshitting. He's like cheese doesn't vegetate. You're like it's not no vegetarian. Vegetarians we eat fruits, we eat vegetables. That's vegetarian. So you know, but he's an interesting brother, man. He's really dope. I like following him. He's also about healing, man.
I'm gonna have to check him out.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I'll send you the link to his stuff, man.
Cool, man.
Yeah. So listen, so what do you think about alkaline veganism? You know what I mean? It has always been really interesting to me. You know, it has attracted me, but I've never been completely alkaline vegan. I feel like for some reason, maybe I'm wrong. I feel like it's a little bit more time consuming, you know what I mean, to be 100% alkaline.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of benefits to it. You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about it, and how long were you completely alkaline for?
Yeah, so going back to the beginning, right? When I first found out about Dr. Sebi, I was like, oh my, this is the end all be all. I gotta be alkaline forever.
Yeah.
And I went alkaline. I was alkaline strictly for probably about 2 years out of my whole 6.5 years of being vegan, right? And my whole thoughts about it has changed since then.
Okay.
I really feel honestly that an alkaline diet is more for healing, right? It's more for healing. If you're going through something and you want to heal the body, you definitely want to make sure you're on an alkaline diet, because you want to make sure your body is getting more alkaline foods opposed to acidic foods. The body can only heal itself if it's in more of an alkaline environment, right? And this is another thing about Dr. Sebi. I just want to mention this real quick before I keep going. A lot of people think that Dr. Sebi was going around saying that I heal people. He never was saying he healed people. He was saying the herbs and the diet will get your body to a certain level where it can fight off the disease, right? And that's the point of it. And that's what I believe about the alkaline diet. So right now I'm primarily plant-based whole foods. So about 85% of just natural foods. And then I'll throw some, some junk food in there as well. But for the people who want to go alkaline, I would say it is time consuming. But look at it more of a catapult to actually heal the body, to get the body back to homeostasis, and then you can be more, you don't have to be so rigid.
Right.
What you're eating. You know what I mean?
I hear you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I'm trying to be too, man. I'm mainly also whole food, plant-based. You know, I do eat some junk food, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie, my wife also be, she be copping that junk food, man.
Yeah,
So, you know, sometimes I'll be like, yo, we need to cut it on the junk food a little bit, man. You know,
I feel you, man.
and to go back real quick to the Dr. Sebi, man, I had the brother Jamario Davidson, ex NBA player. He's an alkaline vegan right now, so he was on the show on episode 7. So to the listeners, make sure you check out episode 7 of the Vital Hoops podcast with Jamario Davidson.
Cool.
It was a good one. We spoke a little bit about his influence. You know, he's also heavily influenced by Dr. Sebi, and right now he's in Atlanta, and he makes all types of sea moss juices and dope things like that, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up,
so
man.
Definitely check that out.
I'm gonna check that out too.
Yep. All right, so like we said, there's a lot of misconceptions still, when it comes to veganism and all that. Please tell me and the listeners some of the myths, you know what I mean? Some of the myths that are spoken on vegans and veganism, man. Certain things that people misunderstand. And
yeah, so it's a whole lot of them, a part of my job is debunking all these guys online, because they just be talking out the side of their neck, like for real. But one of the main things, of course, this is the biggest one, is the protein myth. Of course, I mean, people think you can't get enough protein, or protein isn't as bioavailable as it is in animal products, but it is just the opposite, right? All plants have the correct amino acid profile that you need, and it's actually superior. And one of the best vegan proteins out there is hemp protein, which has the most superior amino acid profile on the planet, right? So that's one of the biggest ones. Also, another one is B12, right? B12 is a big one. And a lot of people think you can't get enough B12 or omega-3 fatty acids. And actually, I have all my blood work right here from a doctor. Okay. And this is the funny thing. She told me that my B12 was actually way too high. It was off the meter. She was like, I thought you was vegan. I was like, yeah, I am vegan. and that's still a lot of propaganda, right? People think that you're not going to be able to get all the right vitamins and minerals, but everything is bioavailable in the plants, right? As long as you're eating a wide range of foods, not being too rigid, not eating just salads all day or just one thing all day. If you diverse yourself, you can get all the right nutrients.
Can you get into that a little bit? Like, can you get into the B12 a little bit? You know what I'm saying? Because it's a huge one. Because as soon as somebody, I think the protein myth is kind of starting to be a little more difficult to tell people, but non-vegans, they go straight to B12. Now, B12, you can't be vegan. You're not natural. You gotta go take that B12. You know what I'm saying? So can you explain to the listeners, first of all, what is B12? You know what I'm saying? Can you explain that? What is B12? And
Yeah. So people think, the majority of people think that B12 actually comes from animals or comes from meat. It's not the truth. B12 is bacteria, right? And prior to cultivation of foods, B12 was naturally on the plants and vegetables, right? Now it gets a little bit different to actually get it from the plants nowadays, because they use a lot of herbicides and pesticides, and they triple wash these foods. But B12 doesn't come from animals, and you can most definitely get it through supplementation. And also your body actually produces it. So if you are getting enough of the right nutrients in your diet, you can produce a little B12 yourself, because it's bacteria, right? So that's a big one. People think that they're not going to be able to get enough B12 or B vitamins in general, right? You need the whole spectrum: B1, B6, B9, because it's all going to be good for the nervous system and in the circulatory system. But B12 is an easy one to get nowadays, man.
I didn't know that part, man. You just educated me. I didn't know that we actually produce some B12. I was telling you about Dr. Aris Latam, and he actually talks about that. He's never taken B12. Like, he doesn't take supplements at all. And he's like, you know, when he goes to the doctors, he gets his work done. He's not. No, actually, he says that they actually told him that he was low in B12, but he doesn't have any other symptoms though. That being low in B12, you know, supposedly does. You know what I'm saying? He's super active. He has 20/20 vision, and he's getting up there. He's like 70 something. He got good vision. He's super active. He's good. He has good memory. All that. You know what I'm saying? So they're telling him your B12 is low. They're telling him all the time, but that's the only thing they're telling him. Everything else is good, but supposedly his B12 is low. But he doesn't have what it's supposed to, what the symptoms are supposed to be. So that's also interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Our bodies produces a little bit of it. It varies from person to person. I would still recommend that people still make sure they're getting enough B12. Right. Yeah. But even for me, my doctor said mine is off the scale. Like she was like, stop taking the supplements, like lay off the B12 supplements because mine was so high. So it's different from person to person. But it's most definitely easy to get.
Yeah. I sometimes give my kids, you know, little vitamins that have some B12 in it. But sometimes, you know, when it's by cycle. I don't give them constantly just B12 all the time. I'll give them B12 for a little while, and then they'll be off of it. And then sometimes we'll have some fortified milk once in a while, like maybe some kind of almond milk that's fortified with B12. Or they might have a little bit of vegan cheese sometimes and things like that, you know. Certain yogurts too that may be fortified, but you know, it's not what people think, like, oh, you're gonna die because you won't get B12 and it's a wrap for you.
Absolutely, you know? Man. It's definitely a myth. And I'm out here to try to debunk all that, man. Another one is carnitine, right? A lot of carnivores. I don't think humans are carnivores, by the way. We don't walk on all fours, and our digestive tract is much longer than cheetah. But that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story.
I can go into that all day. But a lot of carnivores will say, well, vegans, you can't get carnitine. You can't get carnitine. You can't get carnitine. Carnitine is an amino acid that the body needs, right?
Okay.
But it's not an essential amino acid, and that's what they fail to realize. So when you hear someone says this, oh, vegans can't get carnitine, our bodies produce carnitine on its own, right? We need to get the 8 essential amino acids through our food, but there are other amino acids that the body produces.
We already produce them. We don't need more of it. Okay,
we already produce it. As long as we're getting enough L-leucine, right? L-leucine. Sorry, excuse me. Our body produces enough L-carnitine. So that's one that I've been hearing lately. But
then also all animals, you know what I'm saying? All carnivore animals get their protein from animals that eat plants, right?
Exactly.
They get their protein actually from plants, but like a second source, like animals that eat plants.
Exactly.
Right?
So really no carnivores. No carnivores eat other get their protein from other animals that are carnivores. And humans don't even eat carnivores. We're not eating lions. We're not eating cheetahs.
For sure.
Right.
We're eating animals that eat plants. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Sure. So that should tell people something right there.
Yeah. That's interesting. So listen, man, we kind of got into a little bit on you know, tell me, let's get a little bit into why it's healthy, like you know, on a regular tip. Why is it a good thing to go vegan? We spoke a little bit earlier about the different reasons. We know we're helping the environments. Obviously, we're helping the animals because the meat industry, what they got going on is really like, it's wild, man. It's horrible the way these animals are killed. And if anybody watches any documentary on slaughterhouses, they'll be able to see. But as far as your health, why is it good to go vegan?
Yeah, so number one, it really just revitalizes the body, right? A lot of times people, especially in America, right, we have all these chronic illnesses and chronic diseases, and the age of people getting these chronic illnesses is getting lower and lower and lower. I had a friend that had a heart attack in his 30s, right? He was 31, had a heart attack. Like just think about that. You know what I mean? He's all right now, but it was due to the foods that we're eating, the grease, the meats, the red meats, and all these different things. And when you go vegan, you actually give your body a break from all of that junk, man.
No doubt.
Let's talk about one thing: diabetes, right? It's been clinically proven that if you go on a plant-based diet, it reverses diabetes. It's tons and tons
Sure.
of people. Same thing with heart disease,
Yep.
right? The same thing with high cholesterol. And the list goes on and on. And the reason for that is because one thing is animal protein is very destructive to the body and to the digestive tract, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I talked about it a few seconds ago, right? Meat, our bodies are meant to ferment the foods that we eat, right? And the best foods to ferment are fruits and vegetables, right? And a carnivore digestive tract is very short, right? So if they eat meat, it ferments in the body for a short period of time. For us, it takes days and days and days, and all of that meat is just doing damage to the cells, right?
And it
And I tell
accumulates. Yeah. Right.
exactly,
Yeah.
right. And I tell people all the time, right? If you really want to do your body justice, you definitely want to go vegan, right? But it's just still a lot of propaganda out there, and that's why I kind of still do what I do to kind of get the
Yeah.
message out there, man. Yeah.
No doubt, man. Yeah. Dr. Milton Mills speaks about how, he believes we're not even omnivores. They say humans are omnivores, but Dr. Milton Mills actually argues that we're more herbivores. He
Yeah.
says our digestive tracts, our jaws, the way our jaws move, our teeth, all of that are similar to animals that only eat plants. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? He says they're very
Right.
different from carnivores. And the fact that we don't salivate when we see an animal kind of is one of the things that should give us a clue. Like when you see a peach, you salivate. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? When you see a dead animal on the road with his stomach open, you don't salivate. But
Right.
carnivores do. Carnivores
Exactly.
salivate when they see a dead animal in the middle of the road, wide open like that. They salivate. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing. Listen, let's talk a little bit about athletes, man. You know what I'm saying? Because me personally, man, when I went vegan, I was playing ball at a pretty high level. I was semi-pro, you know what I'm saying? And I went vegan, and I saw positive results right away. You know what I'm saying? My recovery time was a lot better. I just felt better, I felt lighter. I
Yeah.
was I was recovering better. I was feeling good. And people was like, "Yo, you feeling good?" My teammates were like, "Yo, you just went vegan, you're not eating this, you're not eating that. How you feeling?" So
Right.
can you please, let the listeners know, especially the hoopers, man, because for basketball, man, basketball is such a sport that's, what I'm saying, up and down, right, left. Like we're some
Hmm.
serious athletes, ball players are serious athletes. So
Yeah.
so so why would it be beneficial, what I'm saying, for athletes and ball players in particular to go vegan, man?
Yeah, so when it comes to athletic performance or working out in the gym or building muscle and
Mm,
just being fit and staying fit in general,
mm,
one thing that's very, very important, and I would say much more important than even the physical activity, is the recovery process, right?
right.
That's for building muscle, that's for athletic performance and everything, basketball, football, whatever you're playing.
Yeah.
And one thing about plants that help with that is the actual phytonutrient content and the antioxidant content, right? Also the flavonoids, right? Because when we put our bodies through rigorous activity, we build up a whole lot of inflammation, right?
Right.
And that inflammation is constantly circulating through the body, which are in fact free radicals in the body. And what the antioxidants do from the fruits and from the vegetables actually go in there and neutralizes that to
Mm,
help the recovery process. Like you mentioned, you had better recovery. It's
right. Right.
because you was up in the fruits and vegetables. So I would tell any athlete, right, especially after a workout, you want to definitely eat some fruit. You want to eat
Mm,
some fruit, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
you want to get some protein, but you want to eat some fruit because the body is gonna get utilized by the cells super fast.
Sure.
Also, another thing is the fructose in the fruits, right? The difference between fructose and glucose, like eating, some pasta versus some fruit, right?
Right.
What you want to do is the fructose gets to the cells quicker because the glucose has to be broken down by the pancreas, et cetera, et cetera. And that's one reason why going vegan and going plant-based and eating more fruits help with diabetes,
Okay.
because glucose has to be broken down by the pancreas and has to get utilized with the insulin to penetrate the cells. But if you eat fruit, that's why going on an all fruit diet, contrary to popular belief, will help reverse diabetes because it's
Yeah.
fructose and it bypasses the glucose standpoint and it gets straight to the cells. And the same thing with athletes, right?
Yeah.
That's why the healing process is so better. Like when I'm in the gym,
Uh-huh.
I recover much faster, easier. I
Right,
couldn't
right.
build muscle to save my life before I was vegan. I was super skinny.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
even start building muscle until I went vegan, and that
Uh-huh.
should be a testament to how much more effective it is for athletes. You know what I
Word.
mean?
Word. Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. And that's still the diabetes part is still a misconception. I still know a lot of diabetic people who are like, no, I can't have too much fruit. I'm like, what? What you
Mm-hmm.
mean you can't have too much fruit? No, it's too much sugar in it. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right. Right. It's we've been conditioned to
yeah.
believe that, you know what I mean? And one thing, it's a vegan doctor. I hate to say the word vegan doctor. People try to say, oh, he's a vegan doctor, so
Yeah.
he's a quack. He's a real medical doctor,
Yeah.
Neil Bernard,
Uh-huh.
right? And he says he sees a lot of research of what really causes diabetes is all of the plaque buildup in the arteries and veins from eating all the meats, right?
Wow. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
one of the reasons why people really develop that, because what in diabetics, the reason why they have all the complications is because the blood glucose is so high, which is the
Okay.
sugar content is so high, and it's not penetrating the cells,
Yeah, yeah.
right? The insulin is not utilizing the sugar to penetrate the cells, so it gets clogged up in the cells and it can't get transported to the areas it needs to go.
Wow.
Why is that? And Neil Bernard says it's because of all the plaque buildup and all the cholesterol in the cells that the sugar cannot get transported to the areas that it needs to go. And I feel like that's a interesting standpoint,
Yeah,
because a
yeah.
lot of people think people develop diabetes from eating too much sugar, which
Yeah, yeah.
which is something
Part
that
of
you need
it.
to think about,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Something that you need to think about, but it's not from the fructose. Fructose doesn't need to get converted from glucose, right? So it
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
straight to the cells. That's why sugar
Yeah.
from fruit is completely fine.
Yeah, you
Um,
can eat the sweetest fruit all day long, you'll be
right,
good. But if you have
right.
that all that these meat products mixed with that processed food, that's
Hmm.
when you that's when you're
That,
going
that's
down.
that's because look, you really never see, like, I mean, I don't know about you, but when it comes to all these chronic illnesses and diseases, I don't see a lot of people who are completely plant-based and eating whole foods with all these illnesses.
Nope.
Like, that should tell people something
Yeah.
right there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think people get turned off from it sometimes because they just ate this way their whole lives,
For
and
sure,
they
for sure.
don't know how their family would take it. They don't know what to eat, and they just get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But it's so much evidence to the contrary that going plant-based is just it's
Mhm.
just way better for the body, and we are in fact not supposed to eat meat. You know what I mean?
No doubt, man. No doubt. All right, cool, man. Let me ask you a little bit about this. Let's get into the importance of veganism or whole food plant-based eating for Black people or people of African descent. I'm seeing that, I've read that, over half of the people, all people in the world are like lactose intolerant. But, in the Black community, it goes up to like close to like, 80%. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? I'm seeing people talking about the importance of melanated people consuming alkaline foods.
yeah.
Melanated people, it being more important for us to consume, things like melon and coconut water and these type of things, man. Um,
Mhm.
where do you stand on all that, man?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about that, you have to go back to the beginning of when African people, especially in America, started eating this way.
Mm,
And it was during slavery. And it kind of hits
yeah.
home for me being from the South, right, in Mississippi.
Uh-huh.
And reason why I say this is because I actually made a video about this, about food from the South and the conditioning that we came into and started eating this way. Because look, in Africa, they wasn't eating cow and chicken and all this stuff. That was not even heard of over
That's
there,
colonized food.
right? It wasn't even heard
Yeah.
of over there. And when we came over here, we had to eat the scraps
Yeah.
from the master. We had to eat that. It was no choice, right?
Uh-huh.
And it got passed down tradition from generation to generation, and now it's so embedded into our psyche that it's hard to break out of those mental chains. And when I say the importance of the foods that we eat, you have to think about the continents, right? You have to, our bodies are a physical vessel that always is scanning our environment, right? And where are Black people from? They are from the sun. They are from Africa. And we need to be eating foods that are populous of those areas that we come from. And those are a lot of alkaline foods, a lot of fruits and vegetables, right? And when you start eating like that, the body actually knows what to do with these foods, right? When you eat meat, the body has to go through an unnatural process to break all of that down. And our body actually doesn't even absorb protein. It absorbs amino acids. The body has to break down all these animal tissues and proteins to actually get to the bare essentials so it can actually utilize it.
That's a lot
You
of
see
work.
what I mean?
Yeah,
That's a whole lot of work for the body to do. That's why I tell people to do a cleanse or do intermittent fasting as well. But to go back to your main point is our bodies are meant to be eating plant-based, right? It's much healthier, it's a much natural process for the body, and actually can yield a whole lot of benefits, right? In older age, right? You don't have to have all this risk for all these ailments and diseases as you get older, right? Like I said, I'm 33 and I'm in the best physical condition, in the best health condition of my life, right? I'm healthier than I was at 21, and that's due to the plants. You know what I mean?
No doubt, man. Yeah. I'm out here still hooping, man. I'm 37 right now, man, and you know what I'm saying, I'm not pro anymore. I'm playing at a lower level, but you know, the young cats are like, yo, man, I see you still going hard out here. I'm like, yo, man, it's that plant-based lifestyle. I attribute it, man, to, you know, I attribute all my longevity to, one, you know, going vegan, and then two, starting yoga, man. You know, starting yoga and going vegan, the way I eat, man, that's the way I've been able to go, man. But listen, to go back a little bit to what you were talking about, like the whole, you know, the way our brothers and sisters eat in the South and everything, you know, and the whole soul food thing, you know, Erykah Badu said that, you know, that's not soul food, that's slave food. You know what I'm saying? You know, so that's something for us to rethink. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of traditions today. A lot of people like to say, no, that's it's our tradition. It's our tradition. But if our tradition ain't helping us, you know, then it's time to rethink it, I think. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like it's not doing us any justice. It's not progressing the consciousness forward. It's not progressing our health forward. Our health is constantly declining. I haven't looked at the statistics in a while, but I really feel like Black people as a whole has some of the worst health conditions in America. And it's just in America, right? In Africa, I don't think obesity is at such a rampant pace in the African community, right? It's only in America, and it's all of the foods that we are eating, right? It goes back to consumption. And one of the people that I look up to a whole lot is Dr. Robert Morse. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he advocates for all fruit diet, right? But one thing that he says all the time, and that I tell people, is 4 main processes of the body. Number 1 is consumption. You have to get that part right. You have to be consuming the right things. Number 2 is absorption. Are you actually absorbing the right nutrients in the body, right? Is the nutrients available to actually absorb? And also number 3 is utilization. Are they going to the proper channels that it needs to go back to? Go back to diabetes. Is the insulin actually transporting the sugar to the cells? If not, that's not proper utilization, right? That's the 3rd process of the body. Number 4 is the elimination, the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system is the sewage, it's the sewer of the body. It's kind of like the septic tank. It gets everything out of the body that doesn't need to be there, all the metabolic waste, all the cellular waste, everything that needs to be out the body. And here's one thing that you can know if your lymphatic system isn't working properly, right? I know I'm kind of off topic a little bit.
No, you're good, man. Go ahead.
But if your lymphatic system isn't working properly, which is a whole of the immune system, you will see that the body will try to expel all these toxins elsewhere. Runny nose, puffy eyes,
Okay.
Acne. All these different things are elimination channels, right?
Okay.
Coughing a whole lot, right? Skin problems,
Yeah.
psoriasis,
Yeah.
all the eczema. The
Yeah.
body is trying to expel. And when people have a runny nose, or allergies, that's kind of like it's a symptom.
Yeah.
It's not the cause, right? They try to mask
Yeah.
the symptoms, but it's just a symptom, right? If you got a headache, it's just a symptom. Don't get mad that you got a headache. Figure out why you have a headache and try to prevent it from happening again instead of trying to mask it with
Trying
some
to cut. Yeah.
Advil.
No
You
doubt.
see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that means the lymphatic system is trying its best to work, but if you start eating right, these processes can actually do what they need to do, and the body can actually work better.
No
And
doubt.
that's one of the main reasons to go plant-based, right? So your body can actually work better the way that it's supposed to work. You know
Yeah.
what I
No doubt.
mean?
No
So
doubt, man.
yeah, I really believe that.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, that's where, it's sometimes where modern medicine, which I think has its place, but sometimes too much modern medicine, man, they always want to go to the symptoms, try to cut your fever, cut your headache, cut this and that. Then you
Mm-hmm.
continue, eating wrong, you continue lacking sleep, you continue
Yeah.
lacking, healthy habits. And then, what I'm saying, that things will come right back, what I'm saying? Or even you'll develop other things from taking these, medications. Supposedly medications are supposedly,
Yeah.
supposed to heal you. They'll,
Yeah.
they'll mess up your liver. They'll, do other things. So
And look, I'm not against doctors or hey,
yeah.
look, FDA don't come for me. I ain't against y'all. But here's the thing. Think about antibiotics.
Uh-huh.
What does that word mean? Anti, against,
Uh-huh.
biotics, which is life, right?
Okay.
Our bodies are 90% bacteria
Right.
from the inside to the outside, right?
Right. Right.
And if you're taking a lot of antibiotics or you're taking a lot of medicines, it can disrupt the symbiosis of the body.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way the body works. Now, if you're sick and your doctor prescribes you something, of course, take it. Right. I'm not telling you don't do what your doctor says, but we can get to the foundation of the things of what's really causing these problems.
Yeah.
If you got a headache, what's causing that problem? Maybe you're not getting enough electrolytes in your diet, right? Electrolytes is what actually alleviates some of those symptoms, right? Another thing, are you getting enough herbs in your diet, right? Are you taking herbs?
No doubt.
Right? Are you getting the right type of nutrition?
Yeah. Yeah.
That way you can prevent these things from even happening in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Opposed to trying to mask it when it does happen, right? And that's what I like to talk about, preventative opposed to trying to put a band-aid on things.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Listen, let me share a little story real quick before we go on to other things, man. I want to, when we were talking a little bit about, about our people, the benefits of our people being plant-based. And I was talking to a chef, there's this brother here. I'm living in France right now. There's this brother here who he owns his own restaurant, right? This African brother, he's from Cameroon, I believe. And he owns his own restaurant, and it's all African cuisine, right? So, I'm out there and I'm talking to him, and he's like, yeah, I'm starting to research, because he's passionate about food and cooking, what I'm saying, and all traditional African foods, not just from Cameroon, from all over Africa. So he's like, I've been researching, I've been doing a lot of research lately to get some real traditional things. And he's like, I make all these plates, but, he's like, I realized that a lot of, not a lot, certain African plates, they have meat in them, right? He's like, they have meat in them, but the name of the dishes, right, is a plant name. The dish is usually called some kind of plant. Okay, so he said, I did my research, and I stopped him and I was like, listen, man, that's interesting to me because I'm a vegan, and blah blah blah. And he stopped me right there and he was like, they're all vegan. He's like, I'm like, what you mean? He's like, all the traditional dishes are really all vegan. When I got into it. So, it was super interesting. Once he started researching, he saw that pre-colonization, you know what I'm saying? The dishes were actually vegan. And so this is
Oh,
why
wow.
usually in most African countries, they'll cook the meat apart. Like they'll do the stew or whatever, or the sauce or whatever it is, all plants. And then they'll cook the meat apart, and then they would, sometimes they'll put it together, or whether it's fish or meat, you know what I'm saying? At the end, they'll put it together. But usually all the real authentic dishes were like, mainly plant-based, man. You know what I'm saying? So
Man,
that was that.
that's interesting right there. And it goes to show you, if you go back and really look at the tradition of it,
Mhm.
it's about the plants. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly. No doubt. Like you
Yeah,
said, like we come from, the sun, good soil, rain, you know what I'm saying? The
right.
sun. So, you know what I'm saying? All these fruits and vegetables are growing, man, for our people, from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Now, some of us live in, these ice box, we're super cold and food can't
Hmm.
grow. And so, you know what I'm saying? But, traditionally,
Yeah, and a lot of people think sometimes like they ask me, "Hey, Justin, all I can eat is fruit and vegetables for the rest of my life." I'm like, you saying it like it's a death sentence. It's over 2,000
right.
different fruits out there, and I think it's like over 3,000 different vegetables out there.
Yeah.
Like you got a lot to choose from, right? You don't just
Yeah.
have to eat bananas and lettuce all day. Like
Eh,
it's options, right? And that's why I help people,
No
right? Because
doubt.
I give them meal plans and I give them recipes so they
Yeah.
can know how to actually prepare these foods,
Yeah.
so they're not stuck with saying, "Oh, what I need to eat," because that's
Yeah.
one of the main reasons why people don't go vegan. Like, "Man, what am I gonna eat?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know what you see what I'm saying."
People
So
are
it
like,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
scares them away from it, but
Yeah.
it's so easy, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and most people only eat really like three different types of meat anyway. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So the variety is really in the plants, and the plants is what's really giving flavor to your meat. Is really the plants and
Exactly.
herbs. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So,
somebody not about to go eat some meat just by itself. They
you know
gonna
what I'm saying?
season that thing up,
With
right?
plants, that's what's gonna give it the flavor. So you
Yeah.
can use the same plants to cook other plants, and you'll get some better tasting. But anyway, man, let's get into that, man. Let's get into what you were talking about. Let's get into your company and what is it that you do exactly? What services do you provide, man?
Yeah, so my company, For Yourself International, and I have a program where I, help people, whether they're not vegan or want to go vegan, or if they're already vegan, I help them transition into a plant-based diet, and I help them build muscle, lose weight, and really transform themselves from the inside out, and really create a real lifestyle change, and really get to becoming the healthiest version of themselves, right?
So,
And I do that with meal plans, workout plans, and mentorship and coaching,
mhm.
right? And like I mentioned at the beginning, I've helped over 200 people really make a real transformation in their lives, and it's growing and it's growing every day, right? I'm amazed at how big that it's kind of getting,
Yeah,
and I'm just along for the ride. Like I'm just a vessel,
yeah,
right? I'm just a vessel to help my people, and whoever wants to help
for sure.
to really become healthier, right? Because there's a lot of people out there that are sick. There's a lot of people out there that don't know what to do,
Yeah,
don't even know if it's possible, right, to heal themselves, to lose weight, to feel better, to have more energy.
no doubt.
And that's why I do it, and that's what I'm continuing to do, brother.
No doubt, man. Yo, and I appreciate you doing that work, man. And so listen, if we have like, say there's a ball player that, wants to go vegan, but he doesn't know where to start, or he doesn't know
Mhm.
how to, or he's scared he's not going to get enough protein, or he's not going to be able to build enough muscle. Can he hit you up to start working with you? And you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I done worked
Sure.
with a few athletes before, a few
Okay.
basketball players.
Nice.
Um and yeah, man, it's super simple to do.
Uh-huh.
And you know what I mean? We can make sure they get enough protein, make sure they're hitting all their caloric intake needs.
That's
And
it.
yeah, man, to thrive, brother.
You hear that? All hoopers out there. So hit up the brother over here so you could get right, get on that plant base like a lot of the top tier players have, whether it's Chris Paul, Kyrie
Mhm.
Irving, you know what I'm saying? The list goes on. There's a lot of top, NBA superstars that went plant based, man,
Absolutely.
and even Dame Lillard, the list goes on. But
Yeah, man. It's getting
yeah,
more popular out there, man.
yeah, no doubt. It's starting to see the good side and see what it's really all about, man. And and I'm like you said from the beginning, man, it's also like the way I see it now, it's like all reasons are good to go vegan. There's no wrong reason. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, there's so much shit that you know, if you do a little bit of research, especially like in these like I can understand maybe in certain third world areas where it's, you know, but where we at right now here in the quote unquote first world, like I believe most everybody should go vegan, man. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like
Right.
the
People ask me all the time, it's like, Justin, what are you gonna do if you know, in a plane crash and it goes over the Mediterranean Atlantic Ocean and you in a raft and you're and you float up on this desert island and there's nothing but meat out there and it's like, I'm like, you just made up a whole
yeah, people,
hypothetical fantasy land.
people
Like
be
if that
crazy.
happens, who knows what I'm gonna do? I'm not
Right,
just gonna sit there and die, right?
right.
I'm not
You
just
know what I'm
gonna
saying?
go, you know what I mean? Of course, I'm gonna do what I have to do. The
Yeah,
point of going vegan, the point of being vegan, one of the main reasons for me at least, is that we don't need to eat animals.
exactly,
That's the point. That's the
exactly,
key. We
exactly.
don't need, it's not a need,
Yeah.
right?
So
It's
let's,
not a
yeah,
need. You can actually get all the right nutrients that you need
yeah,
from plants and you can actually thrive on it. And that's the
better.
real point,
You
right? And
can
you're doing
thrive
better
even,
for the
yeah,
animals and the environment and
for
everything.
yourself too, man. You're doing
Yeah,
better, man. So listen, it's a no-brainer to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie.
right,
To me, at first when I started, it was kind of like, okay, let's do this for, you know, it's a conscious choice. But now I'm like, yo, it's kind of a no-brainer. Just do a little bit of research, and you know what I'm saying? It's a no-brainer. But yeah, but
absolutely.
anyway, man, I appreciate your time, man. And before we go, man, there's a couple of things I want to do, man. Here at Vital Hoops, man, we like, you know, I think one a very important aspect that we've kind of lost, especially us, you know, our people here in this society, man. We're getting away from books and from reading and from getting knowledge. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are just getting their knowledge from TikTok or, you know, short clips. You know what I'm saying? And they're not getting deep into knowledge, man.
Right.
So we like to recommend books, man. Uh we have to stick to books and getting knowledge, man. So
Yeah.
if there's any good book, you know what I'm saying, that has helped you or that you think could help the listeners, it doesn't have to be about what we spoke on, but just any good book
Yeah.
that you want to recommend, man. Go ahead.
Man, like I'm an avid reader, man. Like I read a book a week, man. And picking one
So
is so tough, and you can see some books behind
I
me.
see you, man. You can go with a
It's
couple if you
books.
want, man.
I want to give you one of the best books I read, but I want to give two honorable mentions. Number
Let's do
one
that.
is
Yeah, yeah.
going to be Dr. Morse, his book, the Detox Miracle Source book. Definitely check that out.
Okay.
Number two is the Mucusless Diet
Oh,
Healing System
dope.
by
I've heard about
Arnold
that.
Ehret. That's a very good one. But
Uh-huh.
one book that completely like changed my whole way of thinking, just being more conscious and having a good state of mind
Mm-hmm.
is, let me find it right here, brother. Give me 1 second.
You
Where is
good, man.
It's called Awaken the Giant Within
Okay.
by Tony Robbins, right?
Okay.
And the one of the best points in this book
Uh-huh.
is he talks about state control, right? And I believe state control and our state of mind is super, super important. For example, a lot of people say, well, this person made me mad, or this upset me, or this person doesn't make me happy, or this happened to me, so I'm upset or angry or sad today.
Mhm.
And that's a conscious choice, right? No one can make us upset. No one can make us mad. We actually make that emotion within us, right? And then he goes into the book on how to actually control your own state, right?
Yeah.
And raise your consciousness, because it's very important. If
Yeah.
you're not in control of your emotions and you're just a feather in the wind,
Uh-huh.
you're just going to be controlled by whatever you see.
No
And that
doubt.
goes
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
nutrition. It goes back to health too, as well,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
goes
Of
into
course.
everything, relationships. So being in control of your own state of mind
Yeah.
is a very important skill that a lot of people don't understand and they take for
Yeah.
granted.
For
So
sure.
definitely check that out.
Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate that, man. We also kind of tackle that in, you know, sports psychology when we talk about, you know, it's not about what happens, it's about how you react to what happens.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So like you just made a bad play, you turn the ball over. What you gonna do? You're gonna you know, put your head down and worry about
Mhm.
what you just did, or you're gonna get back on defense and worry about the next play. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Facts.
kind of like similar to life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and one quick point about what you just said right there, very interesting point. The difference between reacting and responding, right? If you go to the doctor and you broke your leg and they give you some medicine or whatever the case may be, and you go back to him, he says, "Oh, you had a bad reaction to the medicine. That's a bad thing." But if he says, "Oh, you're responding well to the medicine," that's a good thing. Same thing in life, right? If something happens to you, you get some external stimulus comes to you, whether good, bad, indifferent, never react.
Okay.
Always respond. Right?
Okay,
because if a reaction is just an outburst, right? And most of the times we regret our reactions.
No doubt,
but if you take time to respond to it and analyze it, you'll get much better results at it.
Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, no doubt. And I'm gonna go with Dick Gregory's natural diet for folks who eat. You know what I mean? Cooking with Mother Nature. That's great. You know what I mean? By our great ancestor Dick Gregory, man. Definitely check that out.
100%.
Yeah, definitely check that out. And this is it, man. This has been a good one. Man, I appreciate your time, Justin. And listen, before you go, if you could please, tell the listeners where they can, find out more about you, where they can follow your social media, website, where they can hit you up if they want to work with you, all that good stuff, man. And we're going to have all that down in the description, you know what I mean, for people to check it out. So
yeah, absolutely, man. But first and foremost, I appreciate you for reaching out, having me on the podcast. It's an honor. And if people want to locate me and find me, they can find me on all social medias. I'm mainly on Instagram, Fueled by Plants, Facebook, Fueled by Plants, TikTok, Plant Fueled Justin. But I'm mainly very social on Instagram, right? I have a YouTube channel, Fueled by Plants, as well.
And how do you spell that on Instagram? Fueled by Plants?
Yeah, Fueled by Plants. Just the regular way to spell it. Fueled by Plants with 2 Z's at the end.
2 Z's, yeah.
And if they want to work with me, they can hit me up on Instagram. I'm actually running a kind of a special. So if you DM me the word meal plan, I can send them out a sample meal plan just to get them on the right track and get them on the right road and everything like that, brother. So yeah.
Word up. Don't miss out on that opportunity, everybody. Check that out. Check out the brother. And yeah, man, we appreciate you for the work you do, man, and lots of success, man, and keep it going, man. Keep it going,
man. I appreciate it, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
For sure.
It's like a great platform, man. I'm gonna check out the episodes, man. It's always great to see people living their passion and doing what they love, man, and connecting with people. That's a great thing, brother.
This is dope. I appreciate you, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Much respect, man. Peace.
Peace out.
All right. Episode number 28 is in the books. Much love and respect to the brother Justin Strickland, aka Fueled by Plants. This was a good one, man. I hope y'all got a lot from this, as I did. You know what I mean? It's always good to talk to a brother that knows what he's talking about. We wish him a lot of success in what he's doing, because it's important work, educating the people on what they eat and their lifestyle and all that. So, it's a huge part of the Vital Hoops podcast. So thank you to Justin, and thank you to all the listeners. You know what I mean? Thank you. Please share this episode if you think you can help somebody. You know what I'm saying? Share this episode. Subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? If you have any questions or anything that you feel we didn't answer when it comes to veganism or the plant-based lifestyle, be sure to leave a comment. You know what I'm saying? Be sure to write us an email, vitalhoopspodcast@gmail.com. You know what I mean? Make sure you follow the brother on social media, Justin Strickland. Make sure you follow him, and make sure you follow us as well. And go to the website, vitalhoops.net. You know what I mean? We got a lot coming, a lot more coming. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep doing it for the culture. We out. Peace.